Welcome inside the torch for the first edition of a new and improved sports show here on Rocky Top. For all of you that have tuned in the volunteer channel Sports Mecca in the past, we thank you. This isn't an end though, but a new beginning. After over a quarter of a century, this program has revamped, redesigned, and remodeled into something that will last for years to come. This is the Torch Sports if you will, and each and every one of us are excited to bring you everything sports, including game recaps, hot takes, expert analysis, and so much more. This season, you can expect interviews with your favorite UT athletes, sideline coverage at home and on the road, and of course, a fair share of disagreements that will without a doubt get out of hand. We can't thank everyone enough who has stayed with us for our tenure as Sports Mecca, and we look forward to keeping that same standard of quality as we transition into a new era. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, we appreciate you giving us an opportunity to bring you the whole 9 yards, UT Sports, and beyond. You can catch episodes every week on Facebook, YouTube, and get content all year long by accessing our socials. Kicking off the first installment of The Torch is this week's host, Jordan Smitherman, for a roundtable discussion featuring volunteer football, the NFL, and the MLB. This is Matthew Solitsky thanking you for sticking with us, and we can't wait to light a fire on all things sports.
Hi, welcome to Torch Sports. I'm Jordan Smitherman, your host, along with...
I'm Grant Porch.
And I'm Caitlin Gill.
And as we all know, our volunteers have a big game this Saturday under the lights at the Swamp, where the Vols haven't won since 2003. And then coming off a disappointing performance against Austin Peay with a ton of quarterback wide receiver mishaps, it is important for the Vols to offensively bounce back at a heightened atmosphere while the Gators will have a chip on their shoulder. And then 30 points is the least amount of points in the win that the Vols have scored at home in the Josh Heupel era. And then focusing on the game in Gainesville this week, what do you think the Vols need to put their attention to for the game this week?
We need to open up the offense. It's plain and simple as that, because the first 2 weeks you can afford to be very vanilla against a team like Virginia and Austin Peay, because you can manhandle them up front. A lot of what we've been running is draw and RPO and wide receiver screen. So if we can open the offense early and often and hit on some of those passes, because we've seen that that's been a problem so far, if we can hit on some of those passes, you can take the crowd out of the game early. And if we can do that, we're going to have success in the Swamp.
Yeah, very basic approach on offense, but the bubble screens did work. And although Tennessee's offense struggled to get in sync versus Austin Peay, one area of the Vols' play was spot on: linebacker Aaron Beasley. Beasley led the Vols on the attack, pressuring Austin Peay and racking up a team-high 9 tackles, a career-high 5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Talk about what it means to be a Vol. Coming up on SEC play, this Vols defense is going to be pivotal in their success. Tennessee is leading the nation in sacks and tied with Nebraska for most tackles for loss.
And then the 2023 NFL season is off and running, and we have a lot to unpack. The teams who we thought were going to be Super Bowl favorites, like the Bengals and the Bills, both lost to division rivals, and the Super Bowl champions Chief lost to the Lions on opening night, while the local team, the Tennessee Titans, suffered a disappointing loss to the Saints while they failed to score a touchdown, and Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. And then, in a week of madness, what was your biggest takeaway or storyline from Week 1?
Well, Week 1, there's a lot of overreactions. People are saying things like Josh Allen's not good anymore, or the Bengals might miss the playoffs. Those teams will be just fine. But one team that really stood out and impressed me was the Dallas Cowboys. They have been a team where they've been in the picture for the playoffs. Can they get over the hump? We won't know that because it's Week 1. But having a defense score 2 touchdowns to start your season on top of beating your division rival by 40 in a shutout in their place is a great way to start the year.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys are definitely a clutch fantasy team right now. And y'all know where I'm going with this. I'm obviously going to pick Jordan Love's first start as QB1 for the Green Bay Packers, and it could not have been more cinematic. Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago, but it looks like he's handed over the keys to his mini-me. There is nothing that captures Love's domination of the Bears than this fourth quarter drive. Love takes the snap, fumbles, but recovers it, drops back, looks downfield, and hits Luke Musgrave with a 37-yard bomb, bringing the Pack to the red zone. And it gets even better. Love drops back, and who does he see? His right-hand man, Mr. Reliable, Romeo Doubs. This Love-Dobbs connection is an untouchable matchup. So I'm definitely looking for the Packers moving forward. But, that could be an overreaction too.
Yes. So my favorite storyline from this week, I don't know, just the most intriguing one is Aaron Rodgers. He comes out to the Jets. They've had the most anticipated season maybe ever. All eyes are on New York. And they couldn't wait for Aaron Rodgers to finally make his Jets debut. Jets fans have been dreaming of this for a while. And then he comes out with the American flag on 9/11, literally a picture-perfect scene. And then 4 snaps in, the unthinkable happens. He tears his Achilles, and it's not just a couple weeks injury. It is a whole year injury. And he's at 39 years old, so this day that Jets have waited for so long just got crushed in an instant, and the keys are handed back to Zach Wilson, and now he's expected to lead this team again, which is very disappointing for Jets fans. So I feel bad for them. But it's also intriguing because, we could have never predicted that on the NFL script. It just happens.
Yeah, It definitely wasn't a dream for me. It was more of a nightmare. I feel like Packers fans felt that pain right alongside Jets fans. I mean, you saw the Packers fans at a bar. They were going to get free drinks if Jets lose. Everyone's excited. Jets are losing. Bills come back. And it was disappointing. I'm definitely hurt more because I obviously wanted the Jets to fail. Obviously. You don't want Aaron Rodgers to go on, have his Tom Brady moment. Yeah, it was heartbreaking to go down that way. No one anticipated that. No one wanted that. I think right now, Jets, you give Zach Wilson a shot. I know that's not a favorable response. I know a lot of people are waiting for Tom Brady's unretirement again. But Grant, how are you feeling about the Jets?
Well, you said it. Tom Brady is worth a call. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. But another thing that they could do is trade for a veteran, maybe a guy like Jameis Winston. I don't know. He may not be that much of an upgrade over Zach Wilson, but it's going to be useful to have another veteran guy in the locker room. And right now he's just sitting on the Saints bench, and he has been since the final Drew Brees years. Now they've basically said it's Derek Carr's team, so he's been pushed aside. So both teams would benefit from that trade too. Jets get the veteran guy who could potentially start, and the Saints get maybe some compensation back for a guy who's never going to play for them again, unless Carr gets hurt this year.
Speaking of Saints, Titans fan, Saints fan, how did you guys both process this week?
It was a disappointing loss. We couldn't, our kicker made all 5 of his field goals, which can be a rarity sometimes. Sometimes they can't even make 3. Kickers are very unreliable in the Titans franchise, so that's a positive. But that was one of the few positives. Ryan Tannehill did not look sharp. He was missing wide open receivers, trying to go to Hopkins all the time, and I get he wants to build the chemistry with Hopkins, but you can't throw to a guy who's double covered with their best cornerback in Marshawn Lattimore when you have young studs like Chigo Okonkwo, Traylon Burks wide open, because that could be touchdowns. And then I personally think there's an unfair call there, like the fumble, but I think we could have scored some points there, but it's okay. It happens. Week 2, we can bounce back. The Chargers might not have Austin Eckler, so
that'll be a huge factor.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the takeaway from that game is the defense, especially on both sides. I mean, when you looked at the Saints defense, they were the epitome of bend and don't break. Like you said, 5 field goals. And when you got into the red zone, you were forcing Ryan Tannehill to make those decisions of, where to fit it in the super tight windows because condensed field and everything. But another thing that stood out is, where was Derrick Henry? I mean, he had over 100 yards total, but it seemed as if run him first down, run him second down. They'd get 15 yards down the field. They do it again, and in 4 plays, they're 30 or 40 yards down the field, and then they just pull him out. And then they're backed up in 3rd and 14, and they can't convert because the Saints defense had Ryan Tannehill on lock.
Welcome to life as a Titans fan. So he only played 15 snaps. They had the 3rd-round rookie running back Tajay Spears play more than him, which I don't get, because Derrick Henry can be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He's up there in the Titans record books, with names like Eddie George, Steve McNair, but yet they didn't play him. And even though it can be boring to just watch Derrick Henry run and run.
It's never boring.
Run and run. That is how the Titans operate. They do so much better when Derrick Henry is the focal point of their offense. And when Derrick Henry gets going and he gets his little stiff arm, wide-eyed look, then there's no one that can stop him, and that opens up the passing game for Ryan Tannehill and guys like Traylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins.
I definitely feel you on the Derrick Henry being absent, because over in Chicago, Aaron Jones was getting going, and then all of a sudden he's gone. He's not in our offense, and A.J. Dillon did his thing. We got the passing game. But then everyone at halftime's like, where's Aaron Jones? Comes right in, touchdown for the second half. So maybe you're just hiding the weapon for a little bit. But I'm feeling good. I know, Grant, you're feeling good. Jordan, you might have your week eventually.
You know, it'll come. You know, the Titans have lost 8 straight regular season games, but I think we can only go up from here. Like, defense looks stud. You just got to involve Derrick Henry more, in my opinion. Get him going, because that's the best way that the Titans can thrive. And then with that, this section comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in to Torch Sports. I'm Jordan Smitherman, along with...
I'm Grant Porch.
And I'm Caitlin Gill.
And we will see you guys next week.
And that's your first look at the Torch, y'all. Thank you for streaming this first episode with our wonderful crew. Subscribe to our socials and stay in touch with us each week. And as always, go Vols!